Hello, my name's Philip Singleton. I'm a consultant at Birmingham Colmore.
And I'm Iain France, and I'm from ConsensusPower.
So, to just position this project and give you a little bit of background, at Birmingham Colmore, in our business plan presently, ESG has really gone up the agenda. And part of that is the sustainability element and energy saving. So, around a year ago, we started to look at the market and look what other bids were doing elsewhere in the country. And we came across ConsensusPower, and we decided to go into collaboration with ConsensusPower, not least because of their business ethics and their perspective and their experience. Iain, do you want to just talk a little bit about that background?
Yes, sure. So ConsensusPower is creating local energy communities around the country, and there's a very big focus on firstly providing low cost, locally produced clean power to businesses. At the moment, we're working solely with businesses. And secondly, everything we do is very keenly rooted in community benefit, and we can talk a little bit more about how that manifests itself as we go on.
And you've big experience with doing solar panels in different contexts in the past.
Yeah, well, one of the member organisations of ConsensusPower established 12,000 solar rooftops going back into the middle of the 2010s. So we gained a lot of experience about scalability, both in terms of delivery and also in terms of financing large-scale projects.
Super. So what we're going to be doing in the next few chunks of this discussion that Iain and I are having is explaining how we can impact on the consumption market, because everybody consumes electricity pretty much everywhere. Equally, in town, out of town, is the generation of electricity. And the clever bit of ConsensusPower is how the trading platform connects those two things. That's the really special bit of the story. So we'll be coming to that. So Iain, let's imagine I'm a business in one of the city centre bids, and I've got a big electricity bill. How does our conversation develop from there?
Well, the starting point is to go to your landlord and see whether he or she is minded to put solar PV onto the roof. And if that's feasible, then what you're going to receive is firstly preferential access to that power, and it will be super low cost power. And it'll obviously be clean power because it's generated from your own rooftop.
Okay, that keeps it very tight. But I know, along with many of my fellow levy payers, that I don't even know what's on the roof of the building I'm in. I've got many, many other sort of floors in the building. So actually, I just want to make an impact on my electricity bill for me with my business here on this particular floor in this building. So how do we go from there?
Well, this is where the peer-to-peer energy trading platform comes in. So that enables us to share other overspill energy from other buildings, rooftops within the city into your building. And that gives you access to low cost, locally produced clean power. The easiest way to think about it is it's no different from switching your energy contract from supplier A to supplier B, which you would do at the end of your standard.
So if I've got a supply arrangement till April 27,
yeah,
we can still talk now?
Absolutely. And it helps us immensely if we're able to get hold of your information well in advance, so we can start to pair generators and consumers to give the best arrangement for everybody concerned.
Sure, thank you. So Iain, it's time now to explain the model to us.
Well, there's a few different aspects to it. The first is that we have a very efficient and effective mechanism to be able to install solar PV on the rooftops of buildings, commercial buildings within Birmingham. And the second thing is that the tenants or the occupants of those buildings get preferential use of all the power that's generated on the roof. The third thing to say is that any excess power that's generated on the roof that's not used immediately by the building owners, but by the building occupants, it can then be funneled out into the local energy community using the peer-to-peer energy trading platform.
Okay, so that's interesting. So I understand the rooftop bit. I get the consumer, and the two can interchange. You mentioned this peer-to-peer trading platform. Just explain to us what that mechanism is and how that works and who owns it and manages it.
Okay, well, what it enables us to do is to take excess generation from any rooftop and match it with any consumer, and effectively the power is being sold from the rooftop to the consumer, and in doing so we're cutting out an awful lot of the cost and the overhead that is normally incumbent on the grid to do that. So that enables us to provide low cost power not only to the building occupants but also to those recipients through the P2P network. Now, the other thing that's really important to say about this is there's nothing that any of the participants have to do that's different from what they do today. So if you're an energy consumer, all you have to do is to switch to a different energy contract, in this case with ConsensusPower, at the end of your contract. And that's the way to secure low-cost
So
power.
I'm imagining electrons in, electrons out, but it's local, which is neat, isn't it?
Correct. It's neat and it's very efficient, and it stops the grid having to export the power out of the local region, which is one of a number of reasons why we can reduce the cost to all participants and make it a far more financially efficient
So savings all round.
Yes.
From what we're paying in an inflated way at the moment. This works with the underground grid as it is. We're not putting new cables in the streets.
No new meters, no new cables, no new infrastructure of any sort. Just simply signing up to a different party at the end of your existing electricity contract.
So how can you reassure me that with that build up with consumption, how you match that with the supply side? Because I would look for reassurance about that.
That's a good question, and it's an integral part of the model. So the first thing to say is that a city centre the size of Birmingham is never going to be able to generate all the power that it needs. And so we need to supplement that with out-of-town clean generation, which we do by virtue of, for example, large flat rooftops.
Like warehousing?
Exactly. Where they'll very often be able to generate a lot more power than they'll be consuming. In addition to that, we have a great network of farm-based generators, so solar, wind, and some fantastic energy from waste technologies, which have the benefit of being able to produce clean power on a 24/7 basis.
So if I've got a nighttime business, I don't have to depend on the sun shining. I can get it from there.
Absolutely, and our job is to balance between that multiplicity of generators and consumers to provide stable power for the businesses.
We all know we have, quite a long period going on of global instability, which has an impact on gas and electricity supply and costs. How does this counteract that?
One key aspect of this is that we're using regionally produced power to satisfy regionally based consumption, and we can arrange long-term stable contracts between generators and consumers to keep everything a reasonably fixed price for the long period, and that to a large extent can insulate local Birmingham businesses from these effects.
It's about consistency.
Yes.
The project has been initiated by Birmingham Colmore, and Colmore facilitates a lot of the discussions because obviously we have a very close relationship with all our levy payers, but then we're deliberately making it wider to the whole city centre of Birmingham. So the 4 other bids and all of their levy payers will be hearing the messaging around generating, but particularly consuming energy and how that can be done at a cheaper level for everybody. But Iain, you're working slightly more widely across the area.
Absolutely. Well, as you say, Philip, the relationship between us is one of collaboration. You're making the introductions for us, which is fantastically valuable. ConsensusPower is the delivery and the operations partner. So the entire responsibility for delivering both generation and consumption rests with ConsensusPower. And what we're finding already is that even if we wanted to constrain it to the centre of Birmingham, we can't, because people are coming to us from the much broader Birmingham and indeed the West Midlands area.
So if I've got a business, I transact with you. It's not to do with Colmore. I transact with ConsensusPower.
Correct.
But if you then want to go, I'm going to express an interest here, what do they do next, Iain?
Well, from a link on the Colmore Life website, you can click through to the ConsensusPower website where you can register your interest. And all you have to do with no obligation is just to put some basic contact details, if you have it to hand, some basic energy information, and then we can contact you to talk things through.
Great, couldn't be simpler.